Welcome to Knicks.com. Jonah Ballow here at MSG Training Center. It's our first scouting report of the season. First time to catch up with you. Assistant coach Kurt Rambis here. Before we get into Chicago and previewing that matchup, spent a lot of time with Phil Jackson, close friends with him. What have you seen as far as his presence on this team and so far what you've seen from this squad throughout training camp and getting ready in the preseason?
Phil's done a great job of establishing, a new culture here in kind of what we want in terms of the excellence and how we're going to change the mindset of all the players that are here, the organization, that it's all about winning, it's all about doing things the right way, and there's just going to be a nice trickle-down effect with everything. And it's highly unusual that when you have somebody that's higher up in the business end of a sport that also knows intimately what we're doing out here on the basketball court. So he's a tremendous asset and a tool for all of us to use, and because he's been involved with our offense for such a long period of time, he's not afraid to express opinions or give ideas about what's happening out there on the floor with us. But we all know it's a process coming in with a new coaching staff, a lot of new players. We're trying to teach them a new system offensively, a new system defensively. So there's been a lot of work and a lot of starting from ground zero with everybody in terms of the players. But as a coaching staff, we're very pleased with where they're at. We know that they've got a long way to go at both ends, but in terms of how receptive all of the players have been to all of our teachings and everything that we want them to learn and do better and execute out there on the floor, the players have been tremendous. They're asking questions, they want to get better, they're spending time with their coaches, trying to work on all the little nuances at both ends of the court. So we're very pleased. We're not satisfied, but we're very pleased.
You know, when you look at the triangle offense, we've seen a lot of instructional videos on it with Spike Lee and sort of the stuff that you were working on at West Point with the squad. You've run the system in Los Angeles for many years. What is the key points in terms of what the players have to take in early on in the process, especially with game one against the team that's scouting for them?
Well, we want them to, there's basic concepts of the offense, and a lot of it probably translates to just about anything in basketball. We want them to have good spacing. We want them to have proper fundamental execution. We want them to use good, high-quality passes. And we want them to execute all the things that we want them to execute out there on the floor. And there's a lot of precision and timing that goes on. And they're all learning that now. Because we don't call a lot of plays, the ball kind of dictates what actions are happening. So everybody has to be in sync, and that's what we're working on now, is trying to get that connection with the players so that they all understand that they're intertwined. They are all working together. Everybody's a part of the process to make it all function. And if the players adhere to the concepts and principles of the offense in terms of hitting the first open man that you see, make hard cuts, keep your spacing, and go through with your cuts, then as long as we're executing correctly, there's really no defense can take away everything. They'll be able to take away some things, but not everything, and that's what we expect our team eventually to figure out is, oh, okay, we see what you're doing, okay, well now we have all of these options. They're not quite there yet, and they're still understanding things before they get real comfortable, but where we started in training camp and where we are now, they've made dramatic improvements.
That's great to hear. Let's shift our attention to Chicago. That is the team that you have scouted and a squad that is made some offseason moves, and I want to start with the guy you're pretty familiar with, Pau Gasol. How does he change them from an offensive team, where maybe they struggled a little bit to put up points, but they were great defensively? Pau now changes the complexion of their offensive scheme?
Well, he gives them a significant improvement in terms of their post-up capabilities. Now they have a big player. He's tall, he's long, and they can put him on the post, and it changes a lot from what they were able to do in the past. They've had players that can go down there, and they still do on their team, that can go down and post up if they feel like they've got an advantage. But now here's a significant post player that's had success in this league. He also adds the capability to stretch the floor because he can knock down three-pointers mostly from the corner, and he can also knock down 18, 20-foot jump shots, which they've kind of had in the past with Carlos Boozer, but now this gives him somebody of tremendous length and passing skills and ability to put the ball down on the floor that they really haven't had in the past. So he's going to help out their offense not only with his ability to shoot the basketball, post up, but as well as pass the basketball and involve his teammates.
Some other offseason moves they made, the European superstar Nikola Mirotic, I hope I pronounced that right.
I have no idea if you pronounced it right.
We'll give it a try.
I know who you're talking about.
He seems to be a spectacular, prospect so far and what he can do. Do you see them as a team that's going to run anything different with these new weapons, with McDermott as well, the young rookie off the bench, or do you expect a similar style that we've seen in the past with Chicago?
Well, first and foremost, they're going to be a defensive team. So, and all of those players, McDermott and Mirotic, are fitting in really well right now. McDermott moves extremely well without the basketball, and they've had a set that was in place that they used with Kyle Korver when he was there. So they're going to continue to run that and execute that. And McDermott's got a lot to learn. He's a rookie, but he can really shoot the basketball. So he's going to help open up the floor for the rest of the Bulls. And Mirotic, even though he's 6'10", he plays like a small forward. He's going to be used as a stretch four, and his ability to put the ball on the floor, he can knock down three-point shots. He's still adjusting and adapting to the NBA game, but in terms of how well he moves his feet, how active he is, how mobile he is for a big guy, and his ability to knock down long-distance shots is going to be a huge asset for the Bulls.
All right, the million-dollar question, I should say the billion-dollar question. How do you stop Derrick Rose?
It's a five-man job. It's not going to be not only the responsibility of the individual who's assigned to him, but everybody has to do a great job in terms of our transition defense. We're going to have to get back. We're going to have to shut down the lane and just make sure that we're making him settle for highly contested shots away from the basket, because it's tough to find, for not only for us but for every team in the league, somebody that matches up well with him. They can utilize their speed and quickness that can counter Rose's speed and quickness. You just don't find that on every team. So we're going to have to do it by committee, and everybody has to stay focused on him because he's such a huge catalyst for them as an offensive player that he breaks down defenses. He collapses everything, and then all their shooters are opened up. So we've got to stop his penetration some way, somehow.
One guy I think would be an obvious choice, Iman Shumpert. Do you expect him to play a big role in that and maybe putting a bigger guard on him? Would that trouble, or cause some trouble for what he does on the perimeter?
Depending on how Rose is playing, we might pull you out there and have you guard him.
That's the worst thing I've heard. I think our fans are really worried.
It's like I said, we're going to have to find a player or two. They're going to have to do a good job defending him, but it's not going to be up to that one individual to stop him. We're going to have to do a good job of making that lane look uninviting to Derrick and make him settle for outside shots, if it's possible.
I have a question just about, as an assistant coach, as a coaching staff, do you guys feel that same buzz, that same anxiousness, nervousness, getting ready for the season opener? You've been around the NBA for so long and so many big-time games. Do you still get that sense that tomorrow night it's all going to start?
I played the game once. It's a long time ago, but there's always butterflies for me for every single ball game. There's a nervousness, there's an excitement and anticipation of what's going to happen out there on the floor, but mostly it's about joy. Finally all the training camp and the preseason games are over with. We get to start the season, so this is the fun part of the year. So all the players and coaching staff were extremely excited about tomorrow, but we know this is going to be a process and it's a journey, and it's just the first step of going where we hopefully are going to go and getting into the playoffs. But we know it's going to be a long, hard process for it, but we're very excited about it.
Very excited as well. It is game one. Preaching patience is the key, but we always appreciate your time and insight, and we look forward to getting more scouting reports throughout the season.
All right, my pleasure. Work on your defensive slides. We might throw you out there.
Trust me, there's no helping me, and no chance. There he is, Kurt Rambis, right here on Knicks.com.